Now, 1 year ago today, we had made a promise to bring you the world as it happens, without fear, without filter, and today we look back at the year that has shaped Asia One News and the history that we've covered together. It began with a news bulletin and a promise from our anchor. More in this report.
From the moment of our launch, Asia One has kept its promise of covering truth. Our correspondents went where the story was. Yusuf stood on the streets of Tehran as tensions with Israel and the US exploded into open war.
Ballistic missiles and drones targeting U.S. interests in the region and Israeli territories.
The Israeli finance minister
Thaya Abu-On reported from inside Gaza, telling the stories of people's miseries. Blake Sifton covered Tel Aviv. Inzamam Rashid brought us the tensions building at the Strait of Hormuz. And James Nish moved between Shanghai's skyline and Islamabad's corridors of power.
China has also been reiterating that, but the fact that they're now calling it on with the facilitator, that's significant.
We were in the room for diplomacy's defining moments. Anas Malik reported from the UN General Assembly floor.
Exclusively confirm that the meeting between the Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and the US President Donald Trump, the tone for these meetings were set by the Pakistani military chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir.
Zaina Antonios covered Beirut. Fiona Nicole Mee reported from Dubai. Javeria Assad from Riyadh.
Now, the US President Donald Trump has declared the Iran ceasefire.
As a returning Donald Trump reshaped Washington, and NATO, G7, BRICS, and SCO summits redrew the architecture of power.
They're not going to develop it, they're not going to buy it, and they're not going to do anything with it. And if they do, they suffer unbelievable consequences.
And when the United States captured Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro in a dramatic operation earlier this year, our correspondent, Trinamina Mary, reported from Caracas as the unprecedented operation made the global headlines.
We are following the state channel because so far we have not heard from Venezuelan government officials.
We sat unflinching across from the people writing this history. Former Algerian Foreign Minister Lakhdar Brahimi, former US National Security Advisor John Bolton, and Senator Lindsey Graham gave us their read on a world in flux.
It is a mistake to think that the Maduro regime, even without him, will provide the stability.
Closer to home, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar and former Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari spoke on Pakistan's engagements.
Today's conference, I think, is very important because it shows that Pakistan is actively engaged on every front in countering this conspiracy against Pakistan.
While Arab News Editor-in-Chief Faisal J. Abbas joined us for his insight on the Middle East war.
We really appreciate that position from the United States. We believe that a negotiated solution provides the best outcome.
US-Iran talks in Islamabad continue into Sunday.
At home, we covered the stories that mattered most to Pakistan. High-level diplomacy.
The IMF and Pakistan have reached a staff-level agreement.
Tough economic decisions. IMF negotiations.
Pose new inflation risk for the import-dependent economy.
And relentless security operations against terrorism.
Islamabad's talks 2020.
From Islamabad's negotiating rooms to New York's UN floor, Asia One kept Pakistan connected to the world.
Now we are joined from Caracas by Asia One correspondent Andrea.
Major earthquakes, devastating floods, industrial accidents, and plane crashes that claimed the lives across continents. Dozens of people missing after a ferry crash. Every time a disaster struck, Asia One was among the first to report verifiable, unfiltered stories with responsibility.
There are still a lot of people missing. The situation is really hard.
We track the numbers that move the world. Oil price swings, gold hitting record highs, tariff disputes and market volatility.
Oil prices fall. We've seen the Brent crude, the global oil benchmark, dropping below 100 a barrel.
We covered the technology reshaping our future.
World's leading exhibitions focus on environmental technology.
From artificial intelligence breakthroughs to SpaceX launches reaching for the stars.
SpaceX has called off the launch of its latest Starship rocket.
From Dubai's booming skyline to the cricket pitch.
Pakistan-India game is a high voltage game. It attracts a lot of capital, a lot of investments, and of course, a lot of advertisements as well.
And the historic win of Spain over Argentina.
She's showing peace and she's...
Asia One News brought all colors to our viewers.
In Karachi, in the biggest stadium here.
What you see behind me, these big screens have been set up.
And in the spaces between headlines, we found the world's smaller truths. Our Asia One diaries wandered off the wire.
This is not Sao Paulo. This is not Rio de Janeiro. This is Liari in Pakistan. Liari!
James was at the Literature Festival. Tanya Francis and Pauline Saul through the streets of Liari. Angela Murphy in Mackley, Tom Philpott chasing waves, and Rabia Khalid in quiet prayer at church. Because the world isn't only made of breaking news, it's made of these moments too.
They even have a giant T-Rex in the Sino Park.
Every headline, every breaking story, every defining moment. We lived it alongside you. Thank you for making Asia One News your trusted source for global journalism. This is only the beginning.
There we go, 1 year of Asia One. Now, we're going to hear from the Newsroom's editor here at Asia One to find out how he chooses the stories that we cover, make sure that we're reporting fairly and accurately, and what it's been like building a team of international anchors out here in Pakistan. So let's meet Naveed Qamar. Good morning, boss. How are you?
How are you?
Welcome to the set.
Thank you.
Little did you know when you gave me a job that you would be pulled onto the set for an interview of your own.
I never imagined that. I never imagined that. And that was never the format.
Right.
Showing the news director or my team here.
I know.
But like, thank you.
But it is quite exciting to be a part of something when you're doing it for the first time. But obviously, when you are sort of creating something new, it also comes with its hurdles and its difficulties, which we've talked about, you know, in many different ways over the last year. For you, what's been the biggest hurdle that you've had to overcome? Some of
the biggest challenge or hurdle was like, it's good, bad, and ugly thing, all right? So good was that I had great team, like journalists like you, and I had the input, output staff, the local, domestic, Pakistani talent
team, yeah,
helping me here. And the bad thing was the deadline, a challenge that you have to meet this deadline.
That's
you
the
have
news
to launch
though,
this
isn't
channel.
it?
Yeah, exactly. So, and the ugly thing was sourcing the equipment, latest equipments in Karachi in Pakistan, because you have to put orders and they have to come from, like, imported from somewhere. So the challenge was met with the help of my team, and the hurdle was the technical and logistic thing.
Yeah.
But we all managed to get everything on time and delivered the project on time.
I'm guessing you now think, you know, that many of these hurdles have been overcome and it's a functioning newsroom. What do you think perhaps makes for a successful newsroom in this modern day? I mean, you've worked in newsrooms for many, many years, but the landscape is changing. You know, there's a big focus on digital, and the way that we consume and make news is changing. So what do you think is kind of the key to getting it right in this century?
A successful newsroom in this modern era, I call it for mobile phone or phone first or digital first era, comes with not just to grow in terms of audience engagement, but to grow with having an impact and also a mark as a credible news outlet or the news channel. We on Asia One and most of the TVs in the world in the newsrooms, they are relying heavily on the credible news wires. They are relying heavily on the people on the ground, journalists and reporters, freelancers on the ground, and then comes the editors who filter out the noise. So a successful newsroom requires all these three things, and I'm happy to say that I have all these three things at Asia One, and we have incredible journalists working for us from around 52 capitals in the world, and we have good book of guests, and we have editors who are very, very professional and skilled to filter out news and propaganda. That makes you a successful newsroom, reliable and credible source of information for people in the newsrooms abroad and the households within the country and elsewhere.
We'll come back to that question about propaganda and navigating that in the media landscape. But first I want to find out what day stands out, or what news story stands out for you in the last year as being the one, the one you were most excited about, the one that you feel like the newsroom covered the best. It was probably a phone call that you got in the early hours of the morning about something, but what's that one kind of day or story that stayed with you?
Let me remind you that day. It was just 6 weeks, and you just came. I think it was your first week here, and we got breaking news coming from the western neighbor of Pakistan, Afghanistan, where Taliban regime is holding power. And we were off air because we were still baby. We were just 6 weeks old, and we were into the 12 hours newsroom news cycle, so midday until midnight. And rest was the repeat broadcast.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, well, but in the early days, it's not like that anymore. But
yeah. 6 weeks, a TV that was launched just 6 weeks ago was covering incredibly strong broadcast for 14 to 15 hours of interrupted rolling coverage on that news that was coming from Afghanistan, and we were successful. Why? Because we had journalists like you coming early in the morning. I called you around like 3 a.m. and you came here by 5 a.m. I had Naziha, I had Angela Murphy, Craig Vermey, and then James joined us. So the same rolling coverage we picked up, and we continued for 14, 15 hours. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
And we stayed on the story.
Yeah, talking about sort of our neighbours, and covering those kind of stories, they're often, as a journalist, being impartial and covering news stories fairly, letting the viewer make the decision and their opinion themselves is obviously something really important, and it will be to you as a news editor. How do you stay fair and accurate in your reporting when you're overseeing stories about Afghanistan and about India? How do you do that? How do you navigate that?
Impartiality is the hallmark, is the holding point for any credible news outlet, and Asia One can claim this impartiality for any news coverage, be it India, be it Afghanistan, be it what's happening in the region, in Iran, in the Middle East, Strait of Hormuz. When it comes to India, throughout my career in the global news rooms elsewhere, in my previous roles, I had great friends from India. I still have great friends from India. India is a big country. It's a really big country. 1.4 billion population sitting on our eastern border. But the thing is, here is this fine line that makes you impartial and differentiates you between propaganda and the credible news or verifiable fact-based news. Look at this thing. The stories we pick up from India, they are not created or just imagined and here and curated in this newsroom. They are already there. I am not bashing India as Asia One just because we don't like each other, the governments.
Yeah.
But the thing is, criticizing Prime Minister Modi's government, Prime Minister Modi's policies does not make you biased or partial. That does not make you a propaganda TV. The stories we pick up are already reported in India's credible news outlets like The Hindu, Hindustan Times,
yeah.
even NDTV, that's very much pro Prime Minister Modi's government. We pick up the stories from there and we report the facts. We report that farmers are being persecuted in Indian Punjab. We report that Christians are being persecuted in Manipur. We report that that Muslim minority, that's a big minority in India, is being persecuted. There's mob lynching, there's cow vigilantes, and we report that. And we are not alone. Indian opposition, Indian people, the really, like India used to be an inclusive country, inclusive democracy. Now it's exclusive. Hindutva exclusive government is running India, and we are critical of their policies, and does not make us impartial. That does not make us biased. So it's not propaganda. Don't call it propaganda. If Asia One is blamed or accused of running a propaganda against India, then this propaganda or blame should be put on the Hindu, the Hindustan Times, NDTV, even News 18, CNN India. So they should also be blamed for that, because they are doing exactly the same thing, critical of the policies and showing the real facts, what's happening on the ground there. So I feel proud of my team, understanding my vision that we need to remain unbiased and we need to remain very critical of the abuses of power anywhere in the world.
Well, Naveed, thank you. And yes, I'm glad to hear that you feel proud. I think the rest of the team do as well. And let's hope that we can continue doing this for many more years to come.
We will do it, inshallah, together.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Naveed.
Take care.
There we go, Asia One's news editor, Naveed Qamar there. Well, a very happy anniversary, 1 year of Asia One, and hopefully many, many more to come. That brings us to the end of Morning Asia, of the show for this morning. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to eat some cake.